"You're not exciting, but you're stable," she said, right before confessing she'd been cheating for months. But what she didn't expect was the man she betrayed to rise, reinvent, and return with a vengeance so calm it shook her to her knees. This isn't just a story about infidelity. It's about the quiet storm of a betrayed man who didn't scream. He transformed. Let's begin. I always thought the world rewarded consistency. That if I just worked hard, kept my head down, and stayed loyal, good things would follow. My name is Logan Hayes, and for years, I lived by that rule. Up at 4:30 every morning, gone by 5, coffee in a thermos, breakfast skipped. I was building a future with my wife, Clara, the woman I married with dreams in our eyes and promises on our tongues. Clara and I had been married just shy of 4 years. On the outside, we were that couple, the ones who looked solid, like they had it all figured out. Inside, I was slowly bleeding out from the exhaustion to try to hold it all together. Our routine was a quiet dance. I'd kiss her forehead at dawn, then vanish into 16-hour workdays trying to get promoted to regional director. Weekends, when I wasn't too drained, I'd plan surprises, rooftop dinners, drive-in movies, late-night walks just to hold her hand. And she smiled. She smiled every time. But over time, that smile lost its warmth. I told myself she was just tired, worn from life, like me. Then she stopped asking how my day was. Stopped texting during lunch breaks. The music changed in our house. No more Sunday pancakes. No more laughing at late-night shows. Just silence. Her phone became a second skin, always in hand, screen always down. When I'd walk in unexpectedly, her posture would stiffen like she'd been caught stealing oxygen. "Hey, babe. I tried once, after coming home early. Good day." "It was okay," she said flatly, eyes not lifting from the screen. I sat next to her on the couch. "Everything all right? Just tired." Her thumb flicked across her phone's screen again. I wanted to believe her, but my gut twisted like a wrench tightening around my ribs. Friday came. I made a decision. I left work early. Picked up everything for her favorite dinner. Pan-seared salmon with lemon butter, wild rice, asparagus charred just right. I lit candles. I played our wedding song. I was fighting for us. She walked in and blinked. "What's this?" "A surprise," I said, trying to meet her eyes. "Because you deserve it." She smiled. That smile. The old one. For a moment, it worked. Until the fourth glass of wine. "You're a good man, Logan," she murmured, swirling the wine. "You're dependable." I raised a brow. "Thanks. I think. That's why I married you. You're reliable. Stable." There was an edge in her tone that scraped against my chest. "But you're not exciting." Silence thickened. I set down my fork. "What are you trying to say?" She inhaled slowly. Her eyes were glossy. "I've been seeing someone." Everything froze. The room. My lungs. Time. "What?" "It's not serious," she said too quickly. I didn't mean for it to go this far. It just happened. My voice came from some cold part of me. "Who is he?" "An old friend. From college. His name's Dean." "How long?" 3 months, she whispered. I pushed back my chair slowly. 3 months. I'm sorry. I felt like I was fading. He made me feel alive again. I stood. The man I was, diligent, hopeful, loyal, died right there between the flickering candles and half-eaten salmon. She cried. I didn't. That night, I slept on the couch. That morning, I packed my things. Just enough to start over. She watched from the bedroom, blanket drawn to her chest like it could hide the truth. "Logan, please," she begged. "I made a mistake." I didn't scream. I didn't curse. "You broke something," I said, gripping my suitcase handle. "And I can't pretend it's not shattered." She reached for my arm. "I still love you." I pulled away. "Then you should have remembered that before you gave someone else what was mine." I walked out, and I didn't look back. My new apartment had beige walls that smelled like old plaster and faded dreams. The place was barely furnished, just a mattress on the floor, a cheap metal desk, and a half-empty fridge. But for the first time in months, the silence didn't lie to me. It didn't fake affection or betray my trust. It was honest, even if it hurt. I kept telling myself I'd only be there a few months, long enough to get back on my feet. But healing isn't linear. Some mornings, I'd wake up with my chest hollowed out. Others, I'd feel like I could breathe again. But no matter what, I didn't go back. Clara tried. Texts. Voicemails. Apologies. "Logan, please. I don't know what I was thinking. I was stupid." Dean meant nothing. You mean everything. Can we just talk? I'll do anything. I'll go to therapy. I'll change. Do you even care? Did you ever? Or are you just proving a point now? I didn't answer. Not because I didn't feel anything, but because I felt too much. Letting her voice back and was like pulling the knife out and stabbing myself again. Instead, I poured myself into work. I took on every project, every late-night call, every impossible deadline. My team thought I was aiming for another promotion. In truth, I was just running from the memories, the nights I still reach for her in my sleep, the ache that came from knowing everything I built had crumbled at my feet. The divorce was final in 47 days. No courtroom scenes, no shouting matches, just signatures, paperwork, quiet death. I gave her the house, let her keep most of what we bought together. I didn't want the couch where she first fell asleep in my arms, or the mirror she used while texting another man. Let her live with the echoes. In the months that followed, I became a ghost in my own life. I was there, but I wasn't present. I stopped seeing friends, skipped every party. I didn't want to explain, didn't want to hear, you'll find someone better, or everything happens for a reason. Those were just sugar-coated lies people say when they don't know the truth. The truth is, betrayal changes you. It wasn't just about Clara cheating. It was about who I became trying to love her, how I gave more than I had, and still wasn't enough. One day, my old college buddy Mark called. He didn't ask for explanations. He just said, let's get a beer. I resisted, but he showed up anyway. We sat in a quiet bar, no TVs, no distractions, just wood paneling and warm lights. He didn't pry, just listened. When I finally told him everything, he didn't interrupt. He just nodded. Then he said something that stuck with me. You gave her the version of you that was building a kingdom, and she wanted someone reckless enough to burn it down. That's not your failure. That's her hunger for fire. That line haunted me, in the best way. I started going out more. Small things at first. I took long walks again. Cooked meals I actually liked. Took solo trips on weekends. Just me, a duffel bag, and the open road. I stopped checking Clara's social media. Stopped tracking if she'd messaged. I didn't need updates on her regret. But the world still had a cruel sense of irony. One night, months later, I bumped into Dean, the man she cheated with. It was at a corporate tech summit in Seattle. He didn't see me at first. He was laughing with another woman. Not Clara. She wasn't on his arm. Wasn't even at the event. Curious, I asked around. Word came back fast. Dean had ended things weeks after the divorce. Said she was too attached. He moved on, like she was a seasonal hobby. It hit me in the gut, but not with pain. With clarity. All this time, I had thought she left me for something better. She didn't. She traded gold for glitter. That night, I walked through the city with a strange calm in my chest. Not victory. Not pride. Just freedom. Freedom from the lie that I wasn't enough. That realization, it was the start of something new. Not revenge. Not yet. But transformation. It started with a mirror. One morning, I caught my own reflection as I shaved and saw someone I didn't recognize. Dark circles. Hollow cheeks. Muscles that had softened from months of neglect. My eyes, once bright with ambition, looked like they'd forgotten how to hope. That's when I made a promise. I will not let her be the final author of my story. I joined a gym the same day. Not to impress anyone, just to feel strong again. Physically, emotionally, spiritually. Every drop of sweat was another brick laid in rebuilding my sense of self. I started waking up early again, but not for work. For me. I ran miles in the cold morning air, listening to nothing but the rhythm of my feet hitting pavement. I ate clean. I read books. I cut back on caffeine and started writing again. I'd always loved writing before Clara, before life with her became my only chapter. I didn't just want to be healed. I wanted to be reborn. A few months into my new life, I found myself invited to a private business dinner. A tech investor named Joseph Lang had been following my work and wanted to bring me on board for a new startup as a consultant. It was a big deal. More money, more influence, more autonomy. The kind of thing I used to fantasize about during lunch breaks. At the dinner, I met Natalie. She wasn't like Clara. She didn't dress to dazzle. She dressed to be comfortable. Her laugh was real, loud and unfiltered. She listened like it mattered. When I mentioned how I'd once dreamed of opening my own consulting firm, she leaned in and said, "Then why haven't you?" She wasn't flirting. She was challenging me. And I loved it. We met again. And again. But I didn't rush anything. I wasn't looking for a replacement. I was building something different, with foundations rooted in truth. Meanwhile, Clara's world was quietly collapsing. Word spread that Dean had ghosted her completely. Her parents stopped supporting her financially, embarrassed by the scandal. Her job, one she only got through my connections, was terminated after poor performance reviews. She tried launching a lifestyle blog, but it tanked. Her glossy Instagram posts started vanishing. Stories grew sparse, but I wasn't watching anymore. Other people told me. I didn't ask. I just nodded. One night, though, her name popped up on my phone again. I don't even know who I am anymore without you. I miss you, Logan. I made the biggest mistake of my life. Can we just meet? One coffee. That's all I'm asking. I ignored every message, not out of cruelty, but because I had grown too much to return to the wreckage. Still, part of me wanted something. Not closure. That was done. But justice. Not for the sake of pain, but for clarity. So I made a decision. I would confront her, but on my terms. With the man I had become. It was spring when I finally replied. After nearly a year of silence, I sent a simple message to Clara. Coffee. 2 p.m. Sunday. Granger Street Cafe. No pleasantries. No questions. Just coordinates. That Sunday, I arrived early. The cafe was quiet, sun filtering through tall windows, casting long shadows on hardwood floors. I took a seat in the far corner, facing the door. She walked in 10 minutes late, and she looked nothing like the Clara I once knew. The confident strut was gone. Her makeup was minimal, her eyes heavy. She wore a simple sweater, sleeves stretched, as if she'd been pulling at them all day. When her gaze met mine, there was no smugness, no superiority, just hesitation. Logan, she breathed, as if the name itself was fragile. I gave her a tight nod. Have a seat. She slid into the chair across from me, her fingers nervously circling the rim of her cup. I wasn't sure you'd come. I wasn't sure either, I replied. But curiosity won. She looked down. I deserve that. I leaned back. I'm not here to punish you, Clara. That ship sailed. You said you wanted to talk. So talk. She swallowed hard. I've been lost. Ever since everything happened, it's like I've been sleepwalking. I thought leaving you for Dean was a choice for freedom, for excitement. But he discarded me like I was disposable. Because to him, I said, you were. She winced. I know now. Then why are we here? Her voice broke. Because I can't stop thinking about how I ruined the one thing that was ever real. You loved me without conditions. You believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. I see that now, Logan. I see everything. I stayed silent. I'm not asking to fix the past, she added. But if there's any chance for us, any at all, I'd fight for it. I'd do therapy, counseling, anything. Just say the word. I stared at her. This woman who had once shattered me into pieces, and now sat before me, asking me to forget it ever happened. I spent a long time thinking you owed me an apology, I said slowly. That somehow, your remorse would make things right. But I don't want your apology anymore, Clara, because I've moved beyond needing it. Her lip trembled. So, it's really over. I gave a small nod. It's been over. I just came to confirm it to your face. Not with anger, but with peace. She blinked quickly, trying to fight back the tears. I'm glad you're finding clarity, I said. I hope one day you find happiness too. But it won't be with me. And with that, I stood. Clara reached across the table, but I stepped back. No more touching what you let someone else break. As I turned to leave, she whispered, Logan, I still love you. I paused, one hand on the cafe door. Then you should have loved me when it counted. The door swung closed behind me, and I never looked back. I walked into sunlight with steady feet. The storm was finally still, and I was standing on the other side. Months passed. Clara became just another chapter I'd flipped past. Her name no longer held weight in my chest. Her face, once the center of every memory, blurred into the background noise of a life I no longer lived. And as I rebuilt everything she had broken, brick by careful brick, I realized something. The best revenge wasn't fire. It wasn't rage. It was indifference. But fate, fate had its own poetic rhythm. One rainy Thursday morning, I received a formal invitation. A business gala, the kind of high-profile networking event that used to feel miles out of reach. Now, I wasn't just attending. I was one of the keynote speakers. My firm, Hey Strategic Solutions had officially launched 3 months prior. From a dusty apartment with one folding table and a secondhand laptop, I had grown it into a 6-figure consultancy in under a year. Our client list included 2 Fortune 500 companies. Our latest contract had brought us media attention, the kind of attention Clara couldn't help but notice. 2 weeks before the event, I received an email from a contact at her old PR agency. Apparently, she'd been laid off again. She was now freelancing, trying to get her footing back in the industry. The email read, "Hey Logan, not sure if you remember Clara. She applied to assist with the Gala PR and listed you as a familiar contact. Just giving you a heads up. Let us know if there's any conflict." Conflict? Only the most poetic one imaginable. I replied, "No issue at all. Looking forward to it. Let her see it. Let her feel it." The night of the gala arrived. I wore a deep navy-tailored suit and a calm expression. Natalie was by my side, confident, radiant, someone who knew how to be a partner without needing to outshine. As we entered the ballroom, Clara was by the check-in table, holding a clipboard like it anchored her to the floor. She looked up and froze. Our eyes met. Her lips parted slightly, not to speak, just to breathe through the impact. I didn't stop. I nodded once, professionally, distantly, then walked past her with Natalie, who leaned in and whispered, "Was that the ex?" I smiled. That was the ghost. Inside, I mingled with executives, investors, future clients. I gave a 20-minute speech on resilience, failure, and reinvention. I didn't mention her name. I didn't need to. Every word was about becoming, and the room knew it. Clara stayed by the walls. She watched me from afar like a child pressing her nose against a candy store window. I didn't approach her, not once, but I knew my existence alone, my thriving, was louder than any confrontation could have been. Later that night, I stepped out onto the balcony to get fresh air. The city lights twinkled below. Moments later, I heard footsteps behind me. "Clara, I never knew you had that in you," she said softly. I didn't turn around. "That's because you were too busy looking for something flashy to notice the gold underneath." She stepped beside me. Her eyes were glassy, and the city lights reflected in them like broken stars. I don't know how to say I'm sorry in a way that makes any of it matter. I finally looked at her. "Calm, steady, whole, then don't." A long silence. "I thought I'd ruined your life," she murmured. "You didn't ruin it," I said. "You rerouted it." She nodded slowly. "And Natalie, she's not a rebound. She's a reward." Clara swallowed. "You hate me, don't you?" "No," I replied truthfully. "I feel nothing." That was the dagger. Not anger. Not vengeance. Just the absence of what she once had. I stepped back into the ballroom, leaving her behind on the cold marble balcony, holding onto the last thread of a man she no longer knew. Weeks later, I got a letter. Handwritten. No return address. "I see now that the best parts of me were the ones you brought out. I hope she knows how lucky she is. I hope you never forget what you're worth. Clara." I folded the letter. Burned it. Some ghosts don't need to be buried. They need to watch you rise, again and again, from the ruins they left behind. And that was the real revenge. Not loud. Not cruel. Just final. Just free.